Welcome to Reddit Secret Tales, where we uncover the raw, heart-wrenching drama of real lives. Ever walked into your own home and felt like a stranger? Picture this, your sister, your closest kin, tangled up with your husband right under your roof. That's where my nightmare began. In a cozy Seattle townhouse. One kiss sparked a firestorm of betrayal, lies, and revenge that tore my family apart. My world crumbled, but I fought back, and what came next? A twisted tale of love and secrets that'll leave you stunned. Stay with me, this story's about to grip you tight. I never thought my own sister would become a stranger in my home. My name's Sarah Thompson, and I live in a cozy Seattle townhouse with my husband, James Carter. We've been married for 10 years, building a life I thought was solid. But last year, everything started to crack. My sister, Emma Larson, lost her husband in a car accident. It broke her. I tried to be there, but she leaned on James instead. First, I didn't mind. He's always been kind, helping family without a second thought. But then it got weird. Emma started coming over to our place in Seattle almost every day. She'd show up unannounced, her eyes red from crying, and James would drop everything to comfort her. I'd come home from work exhausted and find them on the couch talking in hushed tones. It stung, but I told myself she was grieving. Then one night I walked in and found Emma asleep in our guest room. James said she'd had a rough day and needed to crash. No heads up, no discussion. My stomach twisted, but I let it slide. Kept happening. Emma's visits turned into sleepovers. I'd find her coffee mug in the sink, her jacket on the couch. James brushed it off, saying she needed support. But I felt invisible in my own home. One evening I came back late from a meeting and saw them laughing over dinner in our kitchen. My kitchen. I stood there frozen as Emma reached for James' hand. He pulled away, but not fast enough. My chest tightened. I asked her to leave, my voice shaking. She looked at me like I was the one intruding. The next day James acted like nothing happened. I tried to talk to him, but he said I was overreacting. Overreacting? My sister was practically living with us, and he didn't see the problem. I lay awake that night, staring at the ceiling, wondering when my home stopped feeling like mine. Something was wrong, and deep down I knew it was only going to get worse. The air in our Seattle townhouse felt heavier after that night. I couldn't shake the image of Emma's hand reaching for James. My gut screamed something was wrong, but I wanted to trust my husband. I kept telling myself it was just grief pulling them together. Until it wasn't. A week later I came home early from work. The house was quiet, too quiet. I dropped my bag by the door and walked toward the living room. That's when I saw them. James and Emma locked in a kiss on our couch. My heart stopped. The world tilted. I must have gasped because they sprang apart, Emma's face flushed, James' eyes wide with guilt. I stood there frozen, my throat burning. What the hell is this? I finally choked out. Emma stammered. Sarah, it's not what you think. James rubbed his face, muttering. It was a mistake, just a moment. A mistake? My sister and my husband kissing in my home wasn't a damn mistake. I pointed at the door, my voice shaking. Emma, get out. Now. She hesitated, looking at James like he'd save her. He didn't. She grabbed her bag and left, the door slamming behind her. I turned to James, tears stinging my eyes. How could you? He wouldn't look at me, just kept saying it was nothing, that they got caught up in emotions. I wanted to scream, to throw something, but I just stood there, numb. I told him I needed space and locked myself in our bedroom. My hands shook as I sat on the bed, replaying the scene. My sister. My husband. In my house. The next morning I woke up to voices downstairs. James and Emma. My stomach dropped. I crept to the top of the stairs and saw her crying in his arms. She was back, not even 12 hours later. I stormed down, my voice raw. Why is she here? Emma looked up, tears streaming, and had the nerve to say, Sarah, I need to talk to him. Please leave us alone. Leave? In my own home? I laughed, bitter and sharp, and told her to get out again. James just stood there, silent, like I was the one being unreasonable. I ran upstairs, slamming the door. My chest heaved, tears falling freely now. I couldn't breathe. My entire world was shattering, and James didn't even try to follow me. All I could think was, how did it come to this? My sister and my husband betraying me under my roof. And worse, I had no idea what they'd do next. I couldn't stay locked in the bedroom forever, though I wanted to. The silence in our Seattle townhouse was suffocating, broken only by the faint hum of the fridge downstairs. James hadn't come up to talk, hadn't even knocked. My eyes burned from crying, but I needed answers. I wiped my face, took a shaky breath, and marched downstairs. He was sitting on the couch, head in his hands, looking like he hadn't slept either. James, I said, my voice low but firm. We need to talk. Now. He looked up, his eyes hollow, and nodded. I sat across from him, my heart pounding. What's going on with you and Emma? Don't lie to me. He stared at the floor for what felt like forever. Then he whispered, I love her, Sarah. The words hit like a punch. My chest tightened and I gripped the armrest to keep from falling apart. You love her. I repeated, my voice cracking. My sister? After 10 years with me. He finally met my eyes, and I saw something I'd never seen before, regret. But not for me. I've been thinking, he said slowly, about how I settled down too young. I never explored. Emma and I, we just clicked. I didn't mean for it to happen. I laughed, a bitter, broken sound. Clicked? You're throwing away our marriage because you clicked with my sister. He winced but didn't back down. I'm sorry, Sarah. I should have been honest sooner. I don't want to hurt you, but I can't stay. My world spun. 10 years, our late night talks, our dreams of starting a family gone. I felt like I was drowning. Then I remembered something. My voice trembled as I spoke. James, I might be pregnant. It was true. We'd been trying for months and I'd missed my period. His face didn't change, no shock, no joy. He just nodded like I told him the weather. If you are, he said, I'll support you. But I'm leaving, Sarah. I want to be with Emma. I dropped to my knees, tears streaming. How can you do this? Betray me with my own sister and just walk away? He didn't answer, just sat there silent as I sobbed. Finally he spoke, his voice barely audible. I'm sorry. You deserve better. Better? I wanted to scream that he was my better, my everything. But he wasn't anymore. I stood, my legs shaking, and pointed to the door. Get out, James. Just go. He hesitated, then grabbed his jacket and left. The door clicked shut, and I sank to the floor alone. My phone buzzed, my mom, Linda, texting to check in. I called her, voice breaking, and told her everything. Then she dropped a bomb. Sarah, she said softly, Emma told me she's in love with James. I didn't want to hurt you. My own mother knew? The betrayal cut deeper. I hung up, numb, staring at the walls of the home I no longer recognized. The days after James left blurred into a haze. Our Seattle townhouse felt like a tomb, every corner haunted by memories of him and Emma. I barely ate, barely slept. My phone stayed silent, no calls from James, no apologies from Emma. Just emptiness. Then one morning I checked the mailbox, hoping for a distraction. Among the bills was a letter, handwritten, with Emma's name on the envelope. My hand shook as I tore it open. Dear Sarah, it began. I'm so sorry for how things turned out. Sorry. I scoffed but kept reading. Emma wrote that she'd been lost after her husband's death, vulnerable, and James had been her anchor. She swore they hadn't crossed any lines until that kiss I saw. But then the tone shifted. She blamed me. You always flaunted your perfect marriage, she wrote. Seeing you so happy with James when I had nothing broke me. My jaw clenched. Flaunted? I'd loved my husband, not paraded him. She ended with a gut punch. James and I are getting married next month. Please don't contact him. Go through me if you need to talk. I dropped the letter, my chest tight. Married? Already? I wanted to scream, to rip the paper to shreds. Instead I sat on the couch, numb, staring at the wall. That afternoon I bought a pregnancy test. James' cold reaction to my possible pregnancy gnawed at me. I sat in the bathroom, heart pounding, waiting for the result. Negative. Relief flooded me, but it was bittersweet. We tried for a baby for so long, and now I was glad to be free of that tie to him. But it hurt, too, another piece of my old life gone. I called my friend Michael Reed, the only person I could trust. We met at a cafe in Tacoma, and I poured out everything: the kiss, James' confession, Emma's letter. Michael listened, his face grim. Sarah, they're gaslighting you, he said. Emma's letter? That's manipulation, not an apology. His words hit hard. I'd been so caught up in pain I hadn't seen it. Driving home I replayed Emma's words. She wanted me to fade away, to let her and James play house without a fight. Part of me wanted to disappear, to escape the betrayal. But another part, a stubborn, angry part, refused. I wasn't the villain here. They'd shattered my world, and now Emma had the nerve to blame me? I gripped the steering wheel, tears falling. I didn't know what to do next, but one thing was clear. I couldn't let them erase me. Not yet. The weeks after Emma's letter were a storm of rage and heartbreak. My Seattle townhouse felt like a prison, every creak reminding me of James and what he'd done. I'd blocked Emma's number, but James started texting. Short messages at first. I'm sorry, Sarah. I miss you. I deleted them, my hands shaking, but each one chipped away at my resolve. Then one night he called. I shouldn't have answered, but I did. Sarah, I messed up, he said, his voice low. I still love you. Can we talk? My heart twisted. Love me? After he chose Emma? I wanted to scream, but something stopped me. The pain in his voice felt real. Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet him at a quiet cafe in Tacoma. He looked worn, his eyes tired. I don't know what I'm doing, he admitted. Emma's intense, but you're my home. I stared at him, torn between love and fury. I should have walked away, but Emma's letter burned in my mind. Her smugness, her blame. The idea of taking James back even for a moment felt like a way to hurt her, to prove she couldn't steal my life. So I let him pull me in. We started meeting in secret coffee shops, late-night drives. Each time he swore he'd leave Emma, that he'd made a mistake. I wanted to believe him, but deep down I knew he was still going home to her. One evening at a park in Tacoma he kissed me. My heart raced, a mix of longing and guilt. I'll end it with her, he whispered. I want you, Sarah. I let myself fall, desperate to reclaim what we had. But the next day Michael called me out. He's playing you both, he said, his voice sharp. Check his phone next time. I brushed it off, but doubt crept in. Then I saw it. We were at the cafe, and James left his phone on the table. A text from Emma popped up. When are you coming home? I miss you. My stomach dropped. He was still with her, lying to my face. I confronted him, my voice trembling. Are you still sleeping with her? He hesitated, then admitted. It's complicated. I'm trying to let her down easy. Easy. I laughed, bitter and raw. You're a coward, James. But I didn't leave. Not yet. The thought of Emma's smug smile, her claim on him, fueled me. I wanted her to know she hadn't won. So I kept seeing him, telling myself it was revenge. Each meeting was a knife to my heart. But I couldn't stop. I hated Emma, hated James, but most of all I hated myself for still loving him. Every night, alone in my bed, I'd lie awake, torn between wanting my old life back and wanting to burn it all down. What was I doing? And why couldn't I let go? I crossed the line I couldn't uncross. Those secret meetings with James in Tacoma cafes and quiet parks pulled me deeper into a mess I'd made myself. I stopped taking birth control months ago when we were still trying for a baby, and I didn't think to restart it. Then one morning I woke up nauseous, my heart pounding. A pregnancy test confirmed it, I was pregnant. James' baby. My hands shook as I stared at the 2 pink lines. Part of me felt a flicker of joy, a piece of the life I'd lost. But mostly I felt dread. I told James at our next meeting, in a dimly lit diner on the edge of Seattle. His face lit up and he grabbed my hand. This is our chance, Sarah, he said. We can be a family. I wanted to believe him, but his promises felt hollow. Still, I clung to the hope, ignoring the truth. He was still with Emma. For a few weeks it was like old times. He'd bring me coffee, talk about baby names, and I let myself dream. But reality crashed in soon enough. Emma found out. I don't know how, maybe James slipped or she saw us somewhere. My phone exploded with her texts. You're pathetic, Sarah, one read. Stealing my man? You'll pay. Another. I'm pregnant too and he's mine. My blood ran cold. Emma pregnant? With James' child? I called him, my voice shaking. Is it true? He hesitated, then admitted it. It was an accident, he said. I'm trying to fix this. Fix it? I hung up, my world spinning. Emma's harassment didn't stop. She sent emails, called from blocked numbers, left voicemails calling me a homewrecker. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. My family piled on too. My mom Linda called and tore into me. How could you do this to Emma? She demanded. She's finally happy and you're ruining it. I tried to explain James pursued me, lied to us both but she wouldn't listen. My parents sided with Emma, saying I'd acted out of spite. I felt like an outsider in my own family. I couldn't take it anymore. Emma's threats grew darker, hinting at showing up at my house. I filed for a protective order at the Seattle courthouse. The judge granted it but it only made things worse. My family cut me off completely. Linda texted, "You're no daughter of mine." I sat on my couch, 8 weeks pregnant, staring at the walls of my townhouse alone. Michael, my only friend, urged me to move on. "James is poison," he said. "You deserve better." But better felt impossible. James kept texting, swearing he'd leave Emma, but his words meant nothing now. I was pregnant, betrayed, and abandoned by everyone I loved. My anger at Emma and James burned, but so did my shame. I'd let revenge cloud my judgment, and now I was paying the price. How had I fallen this far? The protective order silenced Emma's threats, but it couldn't fix the wreckage of my life. My Seattle townhouse felt like a hollow shell, echoing with the life I'd lost. At 4 months pregnant, my belly was starting to show, a constant reminder of my choices. James' texts dwindled, each one colder than the last. "I'm sorry, Sarah," he wrote one night. "I have to stay with Emma. Her family's pressuring me." Her family. They were my family too, or so I thought. My parents hadn't spoken to me since the order. I was alone and the weight of it crushed me. I sat on my couch, scrolling through old photos of James and me, our wedding in Tacoma, vacations in Bainbridge Island. The man I loved was gone, replaced by a stranger who'd played me and Emma against each other. I hated him, but I hated myself more for believing his lies. Michael, my only lifeline, saw me spiraling. "You've got to let him go, Sarah," he said over coffee at a quiet cafe in Seattle. "You're stronger than this." Strong? I felt like I was drowning. Then James called. I shouldn't have answered, but my heart still ached for the man I'd married. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice heavy. "Emma's due soon, and her family's made it clear if I don't cut you off, I'm out." Out? He was choosing them over me, over our child. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. "You're pathetic, James. You think you can have us both." He mumbled something about loving me, but I hung up. The truth hit hard, he'd never choose me. I drove to Bainbridge Island, to a park where James and I used to walk. The salty breeze stung my face as I sat on a bench, watching families laugh and play. My hand rested on my belly, and for the first time I felt a flutter my baby. Tears fell, but they weren't just for James. They were for me, for the life I'd fought for and lost. I couldn't keep chasing a ghost. I had to live for my child. Michael helped me find a therapist in Seattle. She was kind but direct. "You're grieving a marriage that doesn't exist anymore," she said. "Focus on who you're becoming." Slowly I started to. I joined a support group for single moms, where women shared stories of survival. Their strength gave me hope. I sold my wedding ring, using the money to buy a crib. Each step felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. James texted one last time, saying he'd signed the divorce papers but wanted to stay friends. I deleted it without replying. He wasn't my friend, he was my mistake. As my due date neared, I leaned on Michael and my new community. They couldn't replace my family, but they were enough. I wasn't healed, not yet, but I was moving forward. For my baby. For me. The road ahead was uncertain, but I was ready to face it, one step at a time. My daughter Lily was born on a rainy Seattle morning, her tiny cries filling the hospital room. Holding her, I felt a love so fierce it drowned out the pain of the past year. My townhouse, once a place of betrayal, became our sanctuary. I painted the nursery soft blue, hung a mobile of stars above her crib. Each night as I rocked her to sleep, I promised her a life full of strength and love. Michael was there, bringing diapers and bad jokes, a steady friend when I had none. My parents never called, and James faded into silence, his life with Emma a world I no longer knew. I didn't care. Lily was my focus, my reason. I found a job working remotely, joined a single moms group in Seattle. Their stories lifted me, reminded me I wasn't alone. Standing in our small backyard, watching Lily giggle at the falling leaves, I felt something new, peace. The scars from James and Emma would always be there, but they didn't define me. I was Sarah Thompson, a mother, a survivor. My future was ours to build, and I was ready.